Over the last week of business, I have been going through growing pains, and it has felt like I've been getting punched in the face, punched in the gut, thrown off buildings. It's like I've wrestled with Khabib Nurmagomedov, and I've just done sparring with Conor McGregor. Like, if I could describe myself, right, figuratively speaking, that's what I feel like has happened. Now, emotionally, however, I'm sound, and I haven't allowed the ups and downs that my business is going through to really affect me emotionally. And I know I did a video on detaching emotionally previously, but this video is a bit different. It's actually more so the framework that I use to navigate through these inevitable tough times, taking place. Now, why is this important? I'll start by just explaining the story of how I got to this point, and then through this you'll be able to, extract the learning lessons. Why this is important is because somewhere along the journey, I realized that there is such a thing as inevitability. If you don't show up and work, and you do not put in the hours, and you try taking advantage of people, and you're not actively trying to solve problems and get better, it's inevitable that you will fail. Now, that is like the same inevitability that exists with you consuming more calories than you burn. It's guaranteed that you're going to gain weight. Now, in the same way that if I consume less calories and I stay active, I'm guaranteed to lose weight and get into shape. In business, if I show up every day and I work on the right things and I stay principle focused and I focus on solving problems better than anyone else, I will inevitably succeed. And that inevitable success will mean that I'll achieve all my personal goals through my business, whether that's a business reaching a certain valuation, achieving a certain revenue number, a certain profit number, growing my team to a certain point, me personally achieving a certain financial status. If I work relentlessly and I tick these things off every day, I will inevitably succeed. Now, if I was to give you an example, I would say, imagine climbing up a mountain. You know that if I just keep walking upwards and I don't stop walking, it may take me longer. It may feel like it's taking me forever, but if I just take 2 steps or 3 steps every single day, it's not a matter of if, but when I reach the top of that mountain. That's how I think about business. So in my mind, one of the frameworks that I have is that I'm inevitably going to get everything I ever wanted. Now, it's easy for me, or easier for me to believe this, because I have went through moments where I've been, when I started, when I was debt and broke and no money, and I had a goal just to get to, say, for example, $1,000 a week in my business. This is back when I was 19, and then I achieved that. And then I set the goal at 2,000, and then I achieved that. Then I set the goal at 10,000 a month, and I achieved that. And then at 50,000 a month, and then you just essentially keep going from there, right? And so I have a history of confirmation that I just set a target and I work towards it. I eventually get there, right? That's developed enough confirmation for me to believe that where I am right now and the goals that I've set, the massive goals that I've set, I'm eventually going to get there. And I'm going to look at achieving those goals the same way that I look at where I currently am, which is like it's normal. Okay. So I in the back of my mind, I believe my success is inevitable. Now, that frame of mind, that framework, then leads me to the next one, which is, well, if I know that I'm eventually going to get to the top of the mountain, and I also know that going up a mountain is going to be filled with obstacles and challenges and things that I'm not going to expect. For example, I could get chased by a grizzly bear, I could get lost, I could fall down and hurt myself. I might have a berry or a fruit that I shouldn't have had that's poisonous, that makes me sick, and then causes me to stagnate from moving up the mountain for a whole 2 weeks as I recover. The one thing that is guaranteed is that it's not going to be smooth sailing. I'm moving into uncharted territory. I've never been down this path before, and it's going to be filled with challenges. So that's the next thing, is I anticipate and I accept that is just how the journey goes. I think that is one of the most difficult things for an entrepreneur to accept, a business owner to accept, is that things are supposed to go wrong, right? Like, I've spoken to so many business owners. I remember I was consulting with someone, and I said to him, "Hey man, it's okay. Like, expect for things to go wrong. And just that was enough for him to go, oh, so I shouldn't be feeling so stressed and bad that, we're having acquisition issues, I'm having staffing issues, or I'm having experiencing this problems. It's like, no, just focus on solving those problems. And guess what? When you solve those problems, new problems will show themselves. If you think that there exists a world in which you solve problems and they get fixed permanently, you're deluding yourself. That doesn't exist. If you're in the game of business, and this is why a lot of people get into business and get out. If you're in the game of business, you have to accept the reality that your entire life and life purpose and what you do day in and day out is just constantly solving problems, right? Because you may go, oh, well, I have this problem. Once I solve client acquisition, that's it. Like my life's changed. I solve client acquisition, I start signing on clients, I'm going to hit my revenue targets. But then once you solve client acquisition, then you're going to have fulfillment issues. And then you're going to realize, shit, like I'm struggling to fulfill and get results. And then you have churn issues. Then you solve churn issues. Then you have staff issues. And then you find a way to recruit good talent. And then you have issues keeping good talent. Then you grow a team, and now you're a team of 50 people, and now you have culture issues, right? And the list goes on and on. It never ends. You will constantly experience problems. So long as you're moving up the mountain, you are constantly going to experience problems. So long as your goal is to grow, to be more than what you currently are, you are going to be experiencing problems. And so when business problems occur, I don't feel surprised. I embrace them because I know they're inevitable. Why would I feel shitty about something that I know is inevitably going to come? Right? Like if I'm going to get slapped in the face and it happens to me out of nowhere, it would stun me, it would shock me, I might get offended. But if someone's like, hey, I'm going to slap you, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's just something you're going to have to take, but after this, I'm going to transfer $1 million to your bank account, man, I'll stick my chin out and happily take that slap, and I won't be shocked and I won't be surprised, and and after the slap's done, I'll take it, smile, and enjoy the fruits of that slap, right? The reward that comes on the other side of that. So for me, my attitude is that these problems are inevitable and they're necessary. And they're necessary because when you go up a mountain, you may start as like a beginner, hiker, right? But as you go up the mountain, the terrain's going to get more and more challenging. And so if you get to say point A and then you get to point B and you're not at a certain level as a hiker, you won't be able to navigate through that terrain. So what needs to happen is you need to overcome challenges in between point A and point B, because those challenges will allow you to develop skills that then prepare you from going from point B to point C. And so without those challenges, you're not going to walk away with the skills to actually survive what comes next. Let's say you're going from point A to point B, and somewhere along the way, you hunt and you finally get a rabbit, right? And you're like, shit, I've got a rabbit now. How do I eat it? Right? And you never really needed rabbits because you've been, surviving off berries and fruit. And so you're like, shit, this is a new challenge. I've got this rabbit. How do I eat it? And then you have to teach yourself how to make a fire. And that's a whole challenge, and it's a problem, and it stresses you. And eventually you solve the problem. And now you know how to start a fire, and you know how to cook a rabbit. Then when you go to point B and you start navigating from point B to point C, right? And you go through your next journey, the next mission, that next terrain, you realize, shit, it doesn't even have any berries. It doesn't have any fruit. Right? That doesn't exist there in that journey. That part of the terrain, those trees that existed don't exist. And so if you don't learn how to start a fire and you don't learn how to hunt rabbits and start a fire, if you didn't have that skill, you wouldn't have survived. You wouldn't have survived what's going to come next. Okay? And so that little challenge that you experienced gave you the tool to prepare you for the next phase of your growth. And that is business. That is business. So whenever these challenges pop up, I get excited. What am I supposed to learn here? What lesson am I supposed to learn here? I know that my success is inevitable. So this is just a step backwards for me to learn something. What is it that I'm supposed to learn? What skill am I supposed to build? And that's my attitude. That's my attitude as I navigate, through these tough times. So for me, when I take a look at everything, now think about it from this perspective. When you go through growth and you start going through uncharted territory, you're going to have problems, and these problems present themselves and they go, hey, solve me so you can get to the next level. Unless you've solved me, you're not going to get to that next level. So you're supposed to solve that problem. It's not that that problem isn't meant to exist, right? You're supposed to solve that problem. If you used to have staff issues, the mistake that I see a lot of business owners have is they blame their staff. Oh, my staff aren't unmotivated. They don't show up to work. They don't do what they're supposed to do. They bicker, they fight, they have issues. Okay, and then what? Right? Because you're not going to be allowed to grow unless you build a strong team of A players and you build a really healthy work culture. So what are you going to do about that? And if the answer is nothing, because it's not my responsibility, and this is a very dangerous word a manager can say, or a staff member can say, or sorry, a CEO can say, and I know this because I've said this, I shouldn't have to. Right? I shouldn't have to tell them to do that. They should just know. I shouldn't have to tell them to not bicker and fight. They should just know. I shouldn't have to remind them that this is our mission. They should just remember. I shouldn't have to. As soon as you start thinking that way, you've now given over responsibility for someone else, for that problem not to exist. Every issue that arises, I look at it as a part in the journey that I need to conquer, so that the next part of the map, shows itself. Like as you go through a map, it's like it doesn't show you what's ahead. You hit, get through that level, and then it goes boom, and it shows you the next path. Then you go through the next level. That's how I see business. And so recently, we went through growth. Thankfully, not like an enormous amount of growth, but more growth than we've experienced before. Okay. And I've employed and recruited and placed more team members in the last 2 to 3 weeks than I have done this year. Right. So we've grown our team. We have a higher head count. We've got more clients on board. We're doing more volume. We're doing more revenue. There's more clients. There's just more right now. Now, I am excited and I'm pumped to scale to the moon. And am I near my goals? No, I've accomplished and I've hit my targets for this side of the year, but I have massive goals and targets still yet to hit. So I've still got a long way to go. But as I've went through these growing pains, things have shown themselves. There's been chinks in our armor. There's been things that are breaking. I've had, for example, delivery issues, where as we've grown, the quality of the say, for example, appointments that we have booked for our builders is starting to drop. I'm also starting to realize that at scale, you're going to have clients that are really amazing at sales and clients that no matter what you do, just can't sell, and they need a lot of love and attention. And our systems weren't prepared for that. They were prepared to manage a small handful of clients, but at scale, as the median, and the average quality of a builder at scale, starts to average out, you're going to start having to cater your product not to the ones at the top, but the ones in the middle. Now, what I mean by this is, as we have initially grown, we got quite lucky where we signed on clients who they themselves were really high caliber clients, amazing salespeople, great business owners, and people who were they like, you could put them in front of anyone and they would find a way to get that deal closed. Now, as we've grown, because they're the top 1% or they're really high caliber, as we grow our business, we're not going to just continue to attract the 1%. That's why they're the 1%. You can't just get them, right? At scale, you're going to have to build your product not to cater for someone who is at a really high caliber, but actually cater to the average person. And so we've realized that our product worked really well for these guys at the top, but as we've grown and more people have come in that are sitting around that median range, that middle range, our product actually needed to be improved. We had to get even more stricter with our qualification process, provide more information, provide more training, do more. We just had to really improve our product. And that's only been discovered on the back of client complaints. And that's a thing that people miss out on, right? Like, I'll have some people that will talk to me about my product at the moment, like where I've got my service to as a company, and they'll go, far out, man, like you do all of that. That's incredible. What a great service. But the pain that has been experienced to build this product and service is enormous. It's only been on the back of losing clients, only been on the back of clients leaving upset, only been on the back of people complaining, people really being disappointed with our service. And every time that has happened, we have made an adjustment to improve our product, and now we have a great reputation and we have clients that are actually producing amazing results. But that was at a certain growth level. Now, as we're growing and we're really starting to bring in more and more people, we've realized we need to adjust our product to suit the median. I tell my team. So my team, for example, in a meeting, they were like, oh, this builder is complaining, yet it's his fault because, I've got this other builder I book appointments for, and he doesn't complain. He's closing deals. Why is this guy who I'm booking the same type of appointments for complaining? It's his fault. And I said to them, guys, listen, we need to build our product for the lowest common denominator. We need to build our product for the worst type of customer. Because if you build your product to make the toughest customer happy, then you're going to make great customers exceptionally happy, right? Like, that should be the attitude. The toughest customers are the ones who give us the best feedback to improve our product and service. Okay, and that is the mentality. That is the mentality. If you take a look at, for example, restaurants, burger restaurants, you have to, if you want to be a successful burger restaurant that has like a 4.9 star rating, what you need to do is develop a burger that would satisfy the worst critic, right? Because if you do not satisfy the worst critic, then you'll be at 4.4 stars. Because there's always going to be that group of people that are really hard to satisfy that will be the difference between you being at 4.4 or 4.9, right? But everyone else who's put you at 4.4, that's the general public. That might be 80% of all customers that you get. But you actually need to be building your product and service to cater for the toughest customer so that you actually start operating in that top echelon. If you can't keep those customers happy, you will never build a product and service that is going to be looked at as the best in the industry. Okay, so that should be your attitude, and that's our attitude, is we need to build our product and service to the lowest common denominator. Now, that was only discovered recently, but it was on the back of pain. It was on the back of tough conversations. We lost the client. We've been getting beat up. Just people complaining. It's been a tough couple of days. It's been almost a week, and I noticed even my team was starting to get a little bit dissuaded. And I'm like, guys, this is normal. We're experiencing growing pains. This is all natural. What adjustments can we make? And since last week, we have made 4 or 5 adjustments to our product that has significantly improved things. And funny enough, one of the clients that was complaining that they looked at as, a really tough customer, we booked an appointment for him. So we restarted again with our updated way of, after making all those improvements to our product. And he literally sent a message today saying, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you guys so much. And I celebrated that with the team. I said, guys, congratulations. You just found a way to keep a really tough customer happy. Now, what that means is if you start delivering that your product to your other happy customers, they're only going to be even more satisfied. They're going to turn around and go, wow, you guys have really taken things to the next level. And that's what's going to actually keep them retained long term. So for the most part, for me, when I take a look at going through tough periods in business, I now get excited because I know that it is an opportunity for me. It was inevitable. It's an opportunity for me to solve the problem. It is my responsibility to solve this problem. And once I've solved this problem, I'm going to be allowed to get to that next level. And I've completely accepted that for the remainder of my life, that so long as I am in business, all I'm going to do day in and day out is experience problems and solve problems. And if you aren't willing to accept that, then you do not deserve the rewards of being the business owner. And you should not be in business. You should be number 2, number 3, number 5 in a business, and just accept that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being that. Sometimes being number 3 could be a really amazing thing for you because you get to experience a great level of success without having to actually be directly responsible for fixing the high level problems that are standing in the way of the business, growing. So hopefully that video has helped you. Honestly, I was just sitting here. I thought I'd record something to walk through my thoughts It's toward the end of my day at the moment, so I'm going to go and rest up. As always, feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment, share this with a friend that you think it'll help. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.